I'm going to use, again, kind of a floppy, almost a watercolor type brush. Oil paint has this beautiful capacity to become transparent and translucent when you add some medium or thinner to it. And so my idea is going to be to try to lay this down thin and then possibly work it up from there. The thing about thin washes too is they'll go on dark, and as they kind of evaporate, they'll lighten somewhat. So keep that in mind. Wash this in. Actually, I'm going to wash this in first in a yellow ochre, just to take advantage of some of the just overall warmth that's out here in the painting. I'm going to get this in kind of randomly, and then I'm going to take some of it off. One of the things about when you put a wash in, you can kind of feel your way into some of the patterns and some of the drawing that's out there. And so I'm going to just take some of this off right away. And I'm going to do that in a way that is going to provide some kind of textural quality in the underpainting that maybe will show me what I can do possibly with the drawing when I come in to support the drawing. I think I'm going to start with my darkest darks. As we talked about many times, there's really three approaches to starting your painting. You can start with the darkest darks, the lightest lights, or you can start in the middle somewhere. That's how Sargent really approached his work. He started in the middle and then worked in two directions. I typically am more comfortable starting from my darks because it really anchors me in one place, and I know that everything has to kind of go up from there in terms of value. So that's just kind of a situation that usually works for me better than starting in those other places, but they're all valid. The one main thing to think about is once you start your painting, hold on to the start in some way so that it can inform decisions that come after. I'm going to use this floppy brush. I'm going to keep this a little more lively and maybe a little lighter. As that recedes, I'm going to immediately think about the effect back in here. That's actually a little bit darker. But that's okay. I want that kind of, I want some of that violet sense in that far tree line. So right out of that pile, I'm going to start making kind of relative decisions. And I'm going to kind of fit that in right away. And I can see I have this a little thin, which is fine. So I'm going to want to kind of reestablish it. This little line through here, I want to be darker and richer than the tree line behind it. So I'm going to warm that up immediately. Make it a little more opaque. And just this is the thing. These areas I want to feel like I'm overpainting where my darks are. They will be more or less all taken out as time goes by from the study. But even right in the center of that stuff, there's going to be some darks available. And so some relationship to that feels good. I want to keep these darks connected, so I don't want to be too timid about putting material down. And this is just kind of talking to myself, telling, This is where I say overpaint those dark areas. Don't just paint where you think the dark is going to only live, but get it in there to get it in there a little bit larger. Paint outside the lines. This will all be kind of honed in a sculptural fashion almost as time goes by in the painting. This one in front, I like how warm and dark that is down here. I'm going to kind of push that out a little bit and keep some of that connected here. While I have this going, this initial mark that I made, it's useful just to kind of let me get in to these essential darks back in here. But I really, if you look up here at the at some of the references, these really do need to still have dark aspects, especially at the base of these things, in order to sit this thing down so that this stays forward and that recedes in space. So I'm going to be thinking about that as well. Warm that up a little bit. Again, I'm just going to go right into some of that stuff. And then I really see this as there's kind of connections. I can cool that off just a little bit as I come into the base of some of that Chamisa stuff. And just kind of have, again, overpainting some of those areas. Be okay. I think it will be. I'm going to put so even at this point in the painting, kind of take a moment to analyze if it's going to be usable. And I can see that I can bring in this mountain, the line of the mountains in the distance, to really give a sense of placing this stuff in a more intimate kind of forward fashion and having that sense of distance falling away. And I'm going to just kind of launch and push this paint out there. I don't want to completely eliminate the dark that I have established up there. And again, I'm feeling like I can overpaint. I can paint outside the lines. And I'm going to just start establishing some of the issues. But the intelligence is that you know not to screw around with the accent.
3 minutes left.
It looks great.
I want to raise this up, and it's dry enough so that if I don't like something, I can pretty much come back and remove it. Okay, I think that's as much as I'm going to do for today. It's a small painting. We've been working on it again for another 45 minutes. But this is a way to kind of work these issues out.